Another Founder Wisdom Pod, blockchain edition, Web3 edition, fintech edition. By the way, I'm quite bullish on fintech as a whole, Lucas. AI edition, because we have all of these. We have a PhD in front of us, mesdames et messieurs, Lukas zgiep. He is founder at multiple companies. One of them is pointer.capital. He's a founder there and a GP, general partner. Zgiep.com, which is zgiep.com. You're challenging my brain here. English is not my first language, and I still have problems pronouncing all these letters that are included. 90% of them are including your name. Just the P is good, but I and E I have problem. G and J I have problem, and Z I'm not even sure. It's Z actually. You see, so thank you for that, Lucas. I'm glad to have you on. I'm glad to exchange on all of these topics today. Can you tell us a bit more about yourself and your companies?
Oh yeah, that's zgiep. Your pronunciation is perfectly well. Thank you, Charles, for the invitation, and welcome everyone. Yeah, as you said, I'm a PhD of economics. Of course, maybe that might be important somehow. But I'm also founder, and I believe in value creation and everything what we do, even on a single levels, we are creating some values for others. And that's why I co-founded several companies, also like a tech organization. One of them was the second in the world Chamber of Commerce, like blockchain and new technologies Chamber of Commerce here in Europe. So yeah, I've spent a few years also with regulatory bodies in different states in Europe, advising also like European Commission on innovation and tech in general. And my PhD was about the Web3, so the all Uber, BlaBlaCar, Airbnb, those business models. But over the last few years, together with my business partners, we are investing as a Pointer Capital, which is a group, international global group of investors. And we have 8 operational partners, which I'm one of them, like a general partner. And before Pointer Capital, we were angel investors to over 150 companies. We've made some successful exits from them, and we also have built over 30 companies from scratch to even few thousands of employees. So we've been there. We had this struggle as a founders. We've made a lot of mistakes, obviously, on our ways. It was an exciting and bumpy road. And right now, the most rewarding work for me and for other folks at Pointer is to help younger founders or those who are a little bit at the beginning of their journey, to share our experience, our network, and help them to guide to access new capital, raise another funds, and create a tremendous value for their customers. So that's basically who I am, and thank you for the invitation one more time.
My pleasure. Let's start with you. Let's start with Lucas. Who is Lucas? What are your values? What is your background? What is your goal in life?
Yeah, so my mission, my life mission is to help others. I know that sounds like a cliche, but at the end of the day, all those relationships we are building are the most valuable things. I'm a huge fan of Naval Ravikant. He is a good friend of ours and also co-founder of Angelist, which we are also part of as a Pointer Capital. So I believe that creating value and being just a good person, like a decent, good, normal person, because usually when I see, a lot of different situations in our portfolio companies and the previous companies I've invested in, there are like a lot of complicated issues sometimes between humans, complicated cap tables, or like traditional normal life situations. And at the end of the day, I believe it's important to partner with, to get married with the right investors, because this journey might be bumpy, might be exciting, but if you have a good person with the same core values as you, that journey will be a little bit more smooth, or more enjoyable, right? So definitely, I believe in working together and generating value in a good atmosphere, and also with pleasure, right? With a good approach. It's not everywhere, right? But that's of course, we are not investing in adult entertainment business or tobacco or chicken fights in Indonesia. We even had such a deck. There's this tremendous market, yeah, like 2 billion market, chicken fights or animal fights in Indonesia. I've seen such a deck and I was quite shocked, but of course it's unmoral and it's not our value to invest in such ventures. So yeah, casinos are also not our thing, right? We believe that especially right now, with the huge boom in terms of AI and data and privacy of data, like medical data and a whole new level and layers of research, medical research. This is our sweet spot, and we love to concentrate and make brainstorms and also connections on the data management, privacy, because this is, I believe, one of the most important concerns right now.
And what about porn?
Adult entertainment, I'll mention that. We're not huge fans
Okay,
of
I
that.
thought like just entertainment. All right, cool.
Adult entertainment, yeah. But yeah, one of our general partner, he is expert and one of the leading figure in the world in esport, for example. So yeah, entertainment is okay, but not this adult entertainment that you mentioned.
Yeah, I think like there's porn. I think video game is like a step lower. I gave up video games not so long ago because it would shape my brain into a way I didn't like, you know. My goal nowadays though is somewhat to gamify business so that it's like playing a kind of video game. Business is really rewarding because you can do good and you can make money at the same time. So if it becomes really enjoyable, like a video game, not as fast paced, obviously not as serotonin releasing, I think life can get pretty fun and good. I want to ask you though, it's also been my mission for I think the first like 5 years of my decade-long entrepreneurial life to make humanity move forward or make the world a better place. The only issue I had with that is that I was somewhat disconnected from my present. I was running agencies back then, and to be frank, didn't help humanity much doing so. And I felt this disconnect, and that mission wasn't propelling me forward, nor was it helping people. I think you need to put your oxygen mask first, and you need to be wealthy. Then once you're wealthy, yeah, that can be more part of your mission. Nowadays, I think I'm helping people with this podcast, with my mastermind. I do a lot of things for free from the heart as well. And my question for you is, first, how did you get wealthy on your end? And second, do you agree with the fact that once you're not wealthy, you need to put your own oxygen mask and focus on a mission which is more capitalist centered?
Oh yeah, that's a great question, and I really resonate with what Warren Buffett is saying. Like the first 100K is tough, and once you get there, then the game is changing, right? So, but that's the first part of the answer. But I believe my largest wealth is not in terms of paper money or those numbers, but in terms of relationships and possibilities, and also your mind, right? Like your mind, we are exchanging some minds, some topics. So I believe this is the largest part of our wealth, as we are probably the same age. And you cannot, those numbers in terms of where you're investing X and making 5X or 10X or 50X or 100X, that's super exciting, of course. And people like to talk and even brag about their returns and etc. But it's not true. It's part of being rich. But there is a huge difference, like this novel saying, wealth is much broader topic than only money. It's your health, first of all, your relationships, and to love what you do. So basically, answering your question, I became a wealthy person thanks to, of course, my family and my friends and what I do in my life and their support. but also intelligence is part of being wealthy, right? Because the true wisdom comes from, taking some lessons from your life and then leveling up, and also staying, the good person, right? Not to have all those possible distractions, right? Or yeah. So.
And from the cash part of it, like, tell us a bit more about that area of your wealth.
Yeah, so I've built several tech companies, and I've also invested in more than 40 companies as an angel investor. So this is my main source of wealth, right? I didn't inherit any huge capital or family capital. I'm a builder by myself. I'm an investor right now, and I'm helping others to create the value. So value creation through those companies which I've created, I've built personally as a COO, as a CEO. This is the main source of my wealth today in terms of money, right? But as I said, wealth is much broader. It's not this. Money is maybe like I would say 25 to 33% of the wealth.
That's a good estimate. I like it. It's somewhere around that on my side too. Do you feel that you're at a stage of your life in which you're like really happy and really free to do whatever you want with your finances, with your energy and your time?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think during the pandemic, I had some time, and the last 3 years about or so, I was focused, and I also received, I should even have this book in my over there, like the Almanac of Naval Ravikant. Probably you heard about this book. This book is the best book I've ever read, and it's like a top, and then it's long nothing, and there are other books. So in terms of understanding your happiness and understanding that happiness is a skill, like learning, like coding, or reading or whatever, it's a skill you can train, and you can think about that. It's not like, oh, I'm happy because I won something, or I've earned money or whatever. It's a skill you can build and double down on. So yeah, I'm super happy person, and I do what I love, and I believe this is very important in life, because when you reach this point, everything what you do is art for yourself. So you can create even tremendous values also for others and help others to create this value, whatever they are doing, right? It works for everyone. So yeah.
Naval's book is also a favorite of mine. It's aphorisms, sort of, so very short sentences full of wisdom and that challenge your brain. Have you read Nassim Taleb's Bed of Procrusts?
Yeah, I know Nassim Taleb as well, and but what do you mean exactly? Like some
His
kind of
book, it's called Bed of Procrusts.
No, I didn't read that.
Read that one. It'll become your second favorite book if you like the naval one.
Okay.
Yeah, very intellectual. So it's a book that, every sentence makes you rethink twice. And what I like and also hate about Nassim is arrogance, and I think you need that to be spicy in life and to generate brain cells. A lot of people do not consider that. The thing is, most people are idiots. So when they try to be incendiary, they're being incendiary idiots. Nassim is an intellectual, so he's an incendiary intellectual, which makes it a bit more forgivable. He's having like clear stance. He knows that he's been controversial, and that way the reader, okay, me, I grew up some neurons in the process. I want to ask you though, you mentioned that you were friends with Naval. So how did you meet Naval?
Oh yeah, so I first heard about Naval Ravikant from Maciek Żulkowski. He is also general partner to Pointer.capital, and Naval, he is a friend with Patrick Friedman, and Patrick Friedman is probably you heard about Milton Friedman, right? So he's his grandfather. So Patrick Friedman, a bright mind in terms of course, like those private cities and approach to a different approach to states in general, right? To governance and to build cities. So yeah, we've met naval to Patrick Friedman. And that's thanks to Patri. We also started Pointer Capital as a rolling funds, which was a new feature on AngelList 2.5 years ago. So, but going back to happiness and speaking about the Naval Ravikant, it's like that's, I believe that's his word, or at least it's in his almanac. It's like happiness is a contract with yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want. And I believe when you double down and think about this deeply, then immediately you can rethink your approach to happiness, because at the end of the day, this moment, like we talk right now, and you seem to be happy and interested in this. So that's the real life, right? Not the life 1 hour later or 1 year later. It's here and now. So yeah.
I want to ask you on various topics, rapid fire style, because we don't have a lot of time remaining, but why are you bullish on crypto and blockchain and Web3 and fintech? So like it's 4 questions in one. So tell us your take on each of these.
All right. So the investment disclaimer, it's not an investment advice or whatever. And, speaking like bearish or bullish, it's important to have or clarify the time horizon, right? So my time horizon is, I think, in terms of decades rather than weeks or months or hours, right? In terms of US crypto, right? Because it's highly volatile market. But I believe over the next decade and the next decades as well, more and more people will be more aware of how the internet works, how the protocol works, how the value is transferred, and who owns the data. So that's why I believe technology, for example, like blockchain, which we already have a lot of different implementations, and also artificial intelligence, when you compare those two technologies, and then you will have a fusion of semi-artificial intelligence and blockchain systems governing some data, and maybe investing even in the future, that will be huge leverage for value creation in the longer run. And that might be as well bring and solve our problems today with social media, for example, because I consider, like all the major platforms, I consider them as squares, right? But you have owner of the square, and owner of the square, like the Middle Ages square, you were able to speak or talk about something, right? And right now you have those landlords. You can call those media platforms like landlords or big lords, right? Overlords. And I believe more and more people will understand that maybe it's worth to own your data, right? Maybe it's worth to own what you are sharing there. If you are sharing any type of media, like it doesn't matter if it's video, some text or audio or graphic file, right? So that's the main reason that more and more people will understand the tremendous value and the fundamental value of their internet presence, right? Of course, there are some different spheres like CBDCs and money in general, and huge change which we are in the middle of in terms of how we transact and how we will transact in the future. So definitely crypto is about to play an important role for a free world. I believe so. And there will be a lot of new regulatory frameworks coming in the following years, both in Europe and also in the US. So we don't know how the future will work, but I'm definitely bullish on those two technologies.
Pre-pod, we were talking about like a good part of the crypto community being ultra capitalist and sort of like Renaissance Wall Street bros. And I think they're plaguing a good part of the community, you know, like the guys that show up in Lambos in these community and that don't really understand the effect of blockchain and kind of invent reasons of use cases that don't really exist. How is the community dealing with that with intellectuals like Vitalik that truly are geniuses from the brain, from the heart, and just trailblazers? How are you dealing with that?
Oh yeah, so we're friends with Dmitry Buterin, father of Vitalik Magic, our GP. He knows him for many years. And how to answer this question? You know, like it's not us. You know, of course I see a lot of people bragging and using, you know, their quickly created wealth to buy those Lambos or whatever, but I'm not quite sure it's the best strategy out there because there are many risks involved in that. So yeah, I believe at the end of the day, you can ask yourself what you are creating for others, right? What's your value added to the humanity, to your friends, to your networks, to your founders, to your business partners, investors, GPs, LPs, etc. So yeah, those folks are part of the community, and there is nothing wrong about that, right? There is a free world at the end of the day, so anyone can do whatever they want. But yeah, I believe as an intellectual as well person, I prefer to talk and have discussions on the possible future scenarios, and this is the most exciting part for me, rather than, you know, riding a Lambo or drinking some prosecco on your yachts in Monaco. Of course, it's great and it's super cool, but at the end of the day, it's not the real life, right? The real life is more intellectual rather than, you know, partying and showing off.
Yeah, wealth takes time, you know, and folks at 50 and 60 that are on their yacht, that's super cool. I mean, that's living the life. Oddly enough, most of them are not able to enjoy this life, but I think first it takes time, and when you try to force things, you get backlash, you know. So that is generally speaking. Now, I don't think it's necessarily a blockchain or crypto community problem. I think that 90% of humans, their priority in life is making money. It's capitalism, or even if not 95%. And I do think that people, it's like we started this podcast, right? Put your own oxygen mask first. And in these tiring economic times, I think that some humans, it will take them a lifetime to achieve wealth. So it's kind of normal that people are always prioritizing wealth in a society that overvalues it. So it's just natural that some of these folks will assemble in that community. Now, there's huge potential to the blockchain. One of my pet project would be an AI that would be blockchain governed to rule over society. Obviously, there would be still some humans in there, but blockchain is a fabulous use case for that, just to make a more democratic and freer system. And yeah, the merge of blockchain with AI could just do wonders right there. Blockchain is really impartial, but humans are not. And there's always like humans behind blockchain. So that's the challenge, I guess. But talking about AI, what kind of future do you see? Because me, if my excitement with blockchain is minus 50 right now, I mean, I still believe, not blockchain, my excitement is still like 5 to 10%. But yeah, the crypto community, quote unquote, it's like minus 50. My AI excitement is at 10,000%. Why? Because we're recreating our brains. If we recreate our brains, God knows what we can create, right? And ideally, we can program that brain to be a bit less biased, although that is a challenge in itself, the alignment bias. Why are you bullish on AI? What do you think the world will look like 5 to 10 years from now?
That's a good question as well. Like, first of all, I'm bullish and I'm not bullish. Let's call it this way. Like, I'm bullish because it's a revolutionary thing and it's still evolving, and we have some potential breakthroughs in front of us, let's say in the following years, and it's going to happen as well. And of course, because you've mentioned humans are behind blockchains, right? And I would say I would add regulators to this equation, and they are even far more away. But at the end of the day, this is how the world works, right? When you need to regulate things as well. So my highest concern right now and focus is not about the potential upsides of the AI, because there are like tremendous value, and we'll have decades to explore that, to invest, and to build, the best possible solutions. One of my favorite is in general human health, because we are also very interested in the longevity things happening all around the world, and talking with very prominent investors and also projects and the founders who are challenging and changing how we perceive longevity and what's possible in the future. So I believe AI in general will have a huge impact on our health, and you will have AI doctors, and you will pay monthly fees for those programs to have a better understanding. Maybe, and that's a philosophical question, and why we will be waiting this or finishing this talk, so maybe for another brainstorm, let's call it brainstorm. I will leave you with, like, just imagine that you have the best medical school out there. Let's call it like a John Hopkins hospital or whatever, right? Connected with Harvard Medical School, for example. I'm not a huge expert on medical schools, but let's call it like this is the number one. So they can create their AI, which has their logo, right? So they can charge you and everyone literally in the world to have a monopolistic AI for your medical health data and your medical recommendations, for example. And since they will be a monopolistic, because the only one, logo, there's one logo, let's say Harvard Medical School, right? There is their logo, and as a monopolistic venture, they can charge you, for example, $100 monthly. But a person in Ethiopia, for example, they can charge 10 cents monthly, but they will still have access, and it still be a good value creation for others. But let's leave it maybe for a next conversation. But I believe that everything where we collect data today, right now, like I assume you use Google services for over 2 decades, right? So Google and let's say Facebook, 15 years you're using, or Instagram for 10 years, WhatsApp, you name it, right? They've collected a lot of data about you, about myself. And that was, I believe, Edward Snowden, who recently were talking like, hey guys, of course there is like huge revolution with AI and so on, but that my only concern is like we don't even talk about stopping those companies to collect this data about us, right? Because maybe we should talk about, hey, maybe we should stop collecting all those data points and all those intels about ourselves, and later on figure it out how to deal with this data processing. Because when you have like a few decades of personal history of his digital identity, locations, and like everything, basically your whole life is online, and your smartphone is collecting those data, they might be very useful in the future, of course, for your good, but bad actors might be also interested in that. So my only concern right now is how to protect your privacy and how to withdraw from those AI systems from the future. I hope you understand me, or if you have a question. But so basically my first point is how to be as bulletproof as possible today, and how to have a good hygiene, digital hygiene for next decades of AI development.
Let's see what they can do with that data. I mean, Apple is probably the company that has the most data on myself, because they have the hardware, can control pretty much everything from there. But they're privacy first. Facebook, I don't use it nowadays. I don't care about them.
You mean this company, right? You mean this company?
Yeah, this $1 trillion company.
Yeah.
anyone can scrape anything on the web about me. So I don't think Edward, I mean, Edward is speaking for the people, right? Like I'm not really part of his demographics. I'm like the 0.0001%. And me, I'm like public all the time. Everything's out there about me. So I can't relate to the data thing. I don't give a shit about people taking my data. I'm actually like public out there so that my information can get scraped by an AI. I'm an AI maximalist sort of. So, but that's me. I'm weird. I'm odd, you know, and I have weird theories such as AGI cracks space and time and already knows everything about you and I. Even to a biochemical level. We're not even talking about the computer data level. It just knows everything. So there is such a God that observing both of us and all of our actions right now. So we better behave. What a way to finish a podcast. Lukas, can you tell us a bit more about
I
where
love it. I love it.
find out more about you and your website?
Oh yeah, as you said, we have a website as a fund, pointer.capital, and my personal website is zgiep.com. So basically, that's all. You can find me on Twitter or x.com and LinkedIn. There I am.
There you go. And I am Charles Cormier, your host.